Hi guys. Right, this is a in the future introduction to what I've been messing around with in respect to my truck, Daisy. I'm going to just take a walk down, and obviously, as I said, this is the future now. But Daisy's at a point where I need to get her back on the road, and there's a journey that I want to make as well. So yeah, this is maybe the start of a video or collage of images that will kind of give a snapshot of what's been going on with Daisy. Okay, so hope you enjoy it. Just a quick introduction to possibly Daisy. My vehicles are normally Gertie, but there's a reason why this one might be called Daisy, although it could possibly have its paintwork changed. But if you look over here, it's got some Dukes of Hazzard style stripes. So Daisy Duke, yeah, Daisy, very nice. I've done a bit of wet sanding. I'll pull up a few photos of what it was like before. It was really rough, really sticky. It had been sprayed with an effect of some kind of beigey orange in there, and the stripes were put on by the previous guy and his son one weekend. They were having a bit of fun. It's really nice. Actually, don't dislike the stripes. It's not what I want, but yeah, it kind of gives it a bit of character for the time being. And eventually eventually Daisy, if that's what she stays named, will get a colour change and a bit of bodywork and some nice beefy tyres and yeah, a few little bits done, make it all pretty. But she's a lovely beast, very nice, very happy.
Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies.
So here we are at the workshop and yeah, she's looking quite nice, the truck. You know, I've done quite a bit of messing around with the bodywork, the lining of doors. This one still needs some tweaking, but I'm not really that concerned about it being perfect. I just want it to look straight and pass the eye of any person that might have concerns about vehicles on the road that shouldn't be on the road in a way that's favourable. that's in essence all I want to achieve with it. I just want it to look straight and be a nice, tidy vehicle. Not perfect or anything overly special, but you know, it's been a good truck. I've had it, I think, about a year and a half or so now, and you'll see through some of the videos and the collages of images that, you know, it's picked up a few bits and pieces for me. It's got stuck. It's, you know, it's been a handy thing. And I quite like it. I like the style of it. I think it's a very nice combinations of details that I can think back to vehicles from when I was younger that it reminds me of. Oh, there's Thomas. How you doing? You okay? You monkey. You're gonna get that collar off soon, aren't you? Yeah. Anyway, the real star of the show just appeared. But yeah, I see lots of different details, like this kind of shape here reminds me of the old Mark I Cortinas. At the end they had that kind of shaping, and there's bits and pieces that remind me of things like Morris Marinas, Escorts and those kinds of vehicles. It's just like they found loads of bits that were nice in vehicles and put them all together into this in some ways, and not exactly the same, but you know, even the front, it has twin lights either side, and you had that in some Alfa Romeos, you had that in some Fords as well, like the Capris and things. And it's just a really nice combination of different elements that I've sort of remembered from older vehicles that I like. So, you know, it's an old vehicle. There's no getting away from that. You know, I think it's 76 or 8, I can't remember which now. But, you know, it starts up, it gets up the road, it gives me the ability to throw stuff on the back, and it's a useful tool. Yeah, when it starts, it's a bit smoky, and that doesn't always clear. But really, that's to do with maybe it needs a refurbishment done on the injection for the diesel, and things like that, which, you know, I'll look into in good time. But she always starts, she always gets up the road. It's not very powerful. The ratio of the gearing is not the best, so you might be flicking between fourth and third quite a lot when you're going up hills and things, so it can be a bit frustrating. But I have plans for Daisy, and that's what this video is about, and to then introduce the stuff that I've been collecting along the route in a way that I hope might be entertaining. And I've had friends asking me about, you know, what's happening with Daisy and have you done a video yet, and so it's not that I'm trying to see myself as a content creator or anything like that. I'm just putting up the stuff that is happening and I'm sort of dealing with in my daily life in this beautiful place, Portugal. And I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to do everything perfect. You know what I mean? Quite appropriate that I come around this side, you can see, you know, there's still work to be finished, and in all honesty, this vehicle would never be perfect unless you put a hell of a lot of money, a lot of new panels and so much more into it. It just wouldn't even be worth it unless it was all about the love. You know, financially it wouldn't be worth it. And in Portugal, it's such a beautiful laid back country, but with that comes its own problems, because you do have difficulty obtaining certain things or even get deliveries or whatever. So, you know, you kind of have to be a bit flexible. And that's why you'll see grey, black, and there would have been red oxide primer on this as well, because that's what I could get, and only a certain amount of it at any one given time. So, you know, you've got to be a bit flexible. But I've kind of got enough now to finish the black, and I'm using this black as a base coat just so I can see as I said, anything that I want to even be bothered to deal with. You know, there are imperfections. If you look closely, you can see there's different bits and there's little dents, you know, in parts of the grill or whatever. I'm not bothered. I really don't care. This isn't a show thing. This is a truck. This is something that has been built to work. So I just want it to look tidier and go from the old Daisy Duke, which was all about the stripes and the red, and it just reminded me so much when I saw it first with those stripes up here. It was really cute, it was nice, and it reminded me of Dukes of Hazzard when I was younger, watching that. And straight away, you know, I think I mentioned in a part of these sort of things that I've done to document Daisy along the way, that's why I thought of Daisy, because Daisy Duke. So I just think that for me, I'd like Daisy a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more grown up, you know, less boy racer-ish. I'm not a boy racer anymore, if I ever was one, but I think, you know, I just like it to look a bit nicer, a bit classier, a little bit more understated. But the idea that I have with it, and I know this is going on a bit, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm just giving an insight into what this is about. The idea that I had with it was to have this cream roof, and from that area down, the bits that are grey and black would end up being this green colour that I've got in mind, and then I'd try to either renew the wood or get the wood back to a point where I can use a stain that complemented that green from it, so it kind of pulled the two things together a bit more. I want to put on knobbly tyres, which I can do with this vehicle. Again, another thing about Portugal, you can't just do what you want with a vehicle. This is more about an education thing all of a sudden, but to be honest with you, it's important to understand. You know, if you want to change, say for instance, the colour of the vehicle, which is what I want to do, and why I'm in this kind of awkward situation right now of not actually doing the colour I want to do, and I'm going to do something else because it will allow me to maintain the what is classed as characteristic of this vehicle in relation to the colour. So if you wanted to change the colour of a vehicle in Portugal, you'd have to go to the organisation which is IMT, and you would do a characteristic change to make it for a new colour. Now this vehicle at the moment, it has red and other, because it had red plus the black stripes and, you know, some orange from the original colour and stuff in it. So, you know, I can get away with I was going to put on red oxide primer and call it done, in honesty, and I quite like that colour anyway. I thought it'd go nice with the cream. And if I haven't already mentioned, you know, I want to, around the rims, these are just the standard steel rims, but the rim part of it, I want to paint the same colour as the roof, so you end up with almost like a white wall, kind of old rat roddy kind of style look, retro, with the wheels, and it just pulls everything together and gives it not a period correct thing, I'd say, but gives it an age kind of vibe that I want it to have, and that's all it was. So I'm not going to go inside because I've done some changes, and that's a totally different thing. But you know, I have tidied up under the bonnet a bit, and you know, we'll go into more as it goes on. But that's an introduction to Daisy, and if you've watched this far, I can only say thank you very much for listening to me going on, and I hope you enjoy any of the stuff that comes from this, and you know, the little videos that will be, I suppose, part 1, 2 and 3 or whatever. But this is in essence an introduction to Daisy. So thank you very much for watching, and enjoy. I'm just putting a bit of filler in different areas of this side. It's just a quick skim, just to fill out levels and dents that have been sort of all over this vehicle really. So it's not, as I said, to be perfection or anything like that, you know. It's just to make it look a little bit straighter, a little bit neater. So whatever paint I put on it, at least if it's even not the colour I want, and like, ultimately it will just make a nice base for me to sand down in the future and put the colour onto, rather than doing all of this. So that's the only reason why I'm sort of messing around a little bit. The colour, yeah. I was thinking I didn't show the colour. Bordeaux wine red. As I say, I could only get 3 tins. I've got some black, I've got some cream, I've got some other cream and black as well. But I can only get 3 of the colour. So my dilemma is, how the hell am I going to paint this whole side, the bonnet, and this whole side, okay, not up from this line sort of thing, because everything on the door will be black at that point up and everything on the body will be the cream. So, you know, from there down and around, I won't paint inside the cowling cover, the vent sort of strips. I'll leave that black in there, but I will paint this. I'll take it off to do it. But to get all of that done with 3 tins, you know, I can do funky things like I say, leaving areas black, like for instance inside the area where the grill and the light fittings and that can be all black, so that's okay. I don't necessarily have to have the colour underneath there, that could also be black, like an homage to, I don't know, some of the stylings I remember again from the old cars where they had that at the front, almost like a painted on sort of spoiler. I don't know, but you know, we'll see what happens. I think my approach has got to be that I'll try and get it tidied as much as I want to with the filling, and then when I think to myself I've had enough of that and it's good enough, I'm going to try to get it into the black, because I've got a bunch of that, so I'm good. Let that obviously do its thing, settle down, and you know, get to a point where I'm happy enough to put another colour onto it without worrying about the black bleaching into it, because it's still, you know, not really cured. So maybe I'd leave it for a couple of days if I can resist it. Saying that, I meant to say, I had only just put this filler on, and I've got this really bad habit. I'm so impatient when it comes to doing filling. Now, here's a bit that come off of it, and if I squish it, you can see, you know, it's not really like anything now. It's because it's so small and rolled up, the heat just broke it apart. But before this had even set, I can't help myself but to sort of start rubbing over it lightly with my hand, just to try and get off the little feather edges of where you've troweled it on, you know, as much as possible. And through the time that I'm sort of waiting for it to cure, I'll do like I am now and just rub off these little burrs and try to make it a little bit easier on the sanding, you know. And that's just one thing I thought might be interesting. If you do this kind of thing and you didn't do that, it might be worth having a go, because it cuts down a lot of work. You know, it really does. And I'm not a professional, you know, I'm just speaking from my experience over my lifetime, messing around with cars with my dad and, you know, myself as well. So I'm not trying to make something perfect here or even tell anyone how to do it, you know. That's not what this is about. I'm just documenting it and being mindful that someone may well come across this that doesn't know why I've documented it and put it out there. And I don't want you to think that this is a manual for you to follow or anything like that. This is just me messing around with my old truck, wanting it to be a bit tidier. And you know, what I can't panel beat out, I'm more than happy to put the filler back in that was in there in the first place anyway, and looking terrible. So that's what this is about. So I'm going to get on with some sanding. I'm hoping that I don't have to do too many more bits of filling to get it up to, you know, this kind of level. Sorry for rushing around. You know, I want it to look straight, you know. Looking down it, you can kind of see it's in line. You know, there's no it's not perfect, but you know, there's no major things to go, oh, look at me, you know. So that's what I'm trying to achieve, something like that. And believe me, when I was trying to recreate this shape, I didn't realize how many different sort of curves and things were going on, you know. There's, from the top of the door, there's a little hook out, and then there's another bigger hook out, and then it curves over and it bows out and sweeps down to another little flick, and then it's back in again. And initially when I was doing it, I seemed to put on a lot of filler and I couldn't work it out. I actually thought that because it had been so long since I've been messing around like this with cars, I thought, you know, it's just getting your head back into it, you know, alright. But what I was actually doing was I was filling the panels after taking them right back, and you'll see that in some of the pictures that I've taken certain areas back to the metal, mainly over that side. But you know, I've done the same with this to a greater extent as well. But I was refilling it to the wrong contours because the old filler that was put on there previously made it so out of shape I didn't even understand what it was supposed to look like. So I've managed to get it back to you know, this kind of thing. Hang on, let me just, so I've managed to get it back to this kind of thing, you know, so you can clearly see the nice curve that comes down, it sweeps around, curves in again, and this curve's a bit deeper, a bit lower, and it just nicely blends over into that part of the panel. You know, it's a lovely shaped car actually. I didn't realise how many shapes and curves was in it. You know, if I had, maybe I wouldn't have gone so far. I mean, even the bonnet, you know, I've had to create this area at the front and the shapes to get it back to what I thought would be kind of in line with this. But I've looked online at pictures and it's really difficult to tell, but most of them seem to be almost blended out. But what I've done here, you know, there's still a kick in it with the line, and this line slightly goes out a bit at the end, but that's all ready for me to take back if I want to go that far. I'm not really sure at the moment if I'm even worried about that. But yeah, I'm waffling on. I have to be honest, right? Even though this has been hard work, like a lot of the things that we all go through in our lives, you know what I mean? There's things that just end up being like, oh, I can't be bloody arsed with this anymore. But if I'm being truthful, I've been like a pig in muck. I've enjoyed it thoroughly, even though it's been hard work, you know. So I hope that comes through in what I'm doing now, trying to document it, and you enjoy it. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon. And on top of that, yeah, I do talk a lot, I know. On top of that, I do have a reason I want to get this vehicle on the road, as I might have mentioned. You know, I need to go on a bit of a journey. So, you know, I've got to keep my head straight, but I'm aware of how easy it is to slip away and not really keep myself back in the game. So if I don't do anything constantly, that's the reason. I'm trying to get my nut down, I'm trying to get on with it, or I'm thinking about, yeah, anyway. So hope you enjoyed the videos. Please let me know what you think. Be aware that I understand the quality might not be the best because I'm just using my phone, but it's a decent phone, so you know that'll do. And this isn't really for me to try to make something in a professional way. I'm just putting up stuff and having a laugh and creating memories that I can look back on, and friends and family too, you know. So if anyone outside of that kind of realm engages with what I've done and likes it, I hope you know you do, and I hope that there's nothing I've said untoward. So enjoy whatever comes on, and have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.